guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Sylvia Memoir, and if you're new to the channel, welcome, and if you're returning, thank you so much for returning. Now this is a very special video, will be a series of few videos, and this is very special to me because instead of doing the tarot readings, instead of showing you my decks, in this video, as you could probably imagine from the title of the image of the video, is that I'm gonna start sharing with you all my paranormal, if we wanna call them like that, experiences that lead me to actually to my spirituality and becoming a tarot reader and being so attracted and interested in the occult. These are experiences that have happened to me throughout my life, especially in the last 25 years, or even when I was even younger. And it is, I never spoke about this kind of experiences openly before, and the reason why, because it's a very tricky kind of topic where a lot of people don't believe in things like that if they have not experienced them themselves, which is understandable. And also, a lot of people, jump into conclusion. They might think you are crazy, and also, you wouldn't want to lose credibility with people at work. So, there is all these things going on that can inhibit someone from actually sharing those kind of experiences. But of course, I'm older and wiser, and frankly, I don't really care what people think. And it's not my place for people to believe or not. I'm just here ready to share those experiences, and I think this is very important, a part of my spiritual journey. So today we're gonna start with a bang, because I'm gonna tell you about one of the times. This was one of the most scary experiences that I have with a ghost entity, or whatever you want to call it. And so, sit back, relax, maybe make yourself a cup of tea, and come with me in this journey and sharing you this one of my most terrifying episode that I have with the other side. Okay, so today I'm taking you to a special place in Iran. Yes, I'm taking you to Iran. And this would have been between 2009 and 2012. I used to fly there a lot for work. I used to fly for two major airlines, and this would have happened during my work, during my employment on my first airline. And I used to go to Iran every month, and it used to be a trip long, like 3 to 4 days. Now, we used to stay in this beautiful hotel. All of the airlines were staying the same in this beautiful hotel in the central of Iran, Tehran. And there were lots of rules, as you can imagine, to stay in an Islamic country. And so we used to get to the hotel, and we would take a lift straight to the 9th floor, which was the floor. Half of this floor was dedicated basically to our airline for our stay, and we would be meeting by a coordinator, which stayed in this corridor for us, where he would give us the key for the room, and we would refer to him for anything that we needed. And so we basically were staying always in these same rooms. This half of this corridor was blocked off by a glass door, which was dedicated to our airline. So basically we used to stay always in the same area of this hotel for our stay. And when if you know a bit about me, I always had this special sensitivity to the paranormal and the unknown. And so from the beginning that I started flying to Iran and doing these trips, of course I have experienced, I could sense strongly the presence of this entity. And it was so strong that actually a lot of other crew was claiming that they were experiencing weird things or hearing things and so on. And there were a lot of, some people didn't want to go there, I had two major incidents in that particular hotel because of this entity. Also, there was a true story, like 10 years prior of me flying there for work. There was unfortunately a cabin crew that took his life in one of those rooms that we were staying, which is very sad. And so a lot of people that also were experiencing this kind of phenomenon were of course associating it with this crew that we lost. But to be honest with you, personally, I wasn't sure if that was the case, but the entity was definitely there. When I was staying in there, I would feel the presence. I would feel walking in the room when I was sleeping there, or you will feel your beddings moving or pulled while you were sleeping, or you will feel a light brush or things like that. And so it was quite uncomfortable for me to be there. I never really enjoyed having this kind of experiences. And but this particular incident is one of the worst I ever experienced because it was quite tangible, quite strong. And so the story goes like this. On one of the trip that I had, we were given the room, and of course, like I said, a lot of crew knew about things happening on those rooms, particularly the last room at the end of this corridor. And a young new cabin crew was given this room, and she was actually quite scared. And she started crying with me, and she said, "I'm so scared, I don't want to go there, I heard things," and blah blah blah. So of course, me, then I was a little bit older than her because she was quite young. I said to her, I tried to comfort her and to dismiss it. So I was not gonna say to her, "Oh yes, it's true." So I said to her, "Do not worry at all. Nothing is gonna happen. It's just a rumor. You will have a good night's sleep. There is nothing for you to worry about. So don't worry." And then, of course, she was crying, and she looked at me and she said, "Oh, would you please, please, please take this room?" She was assigned the last room of the corridor, which was the worst room to be. So things were happening all over the other rooms, but there was particularly the famous room where things were happening more strongly. And of course I have to take it because otherwise she wouldn't believe me that she had nothing to worry about. So reluctantly, and to make her feel better, I decided to take the room. Unfortunately, we couldn't choose the room, so it was kind of like a raffle. You will get whatever you get. And so over the years, then I was staying there. Sometime I have to stay in that room, but like I said, things were happening also. You could feel the presence all over the rooms where we were staying. So I entered the room, and there was you entered the room, and then on your right there was straight the door for the bathroom, and then there was a wardrobe on the other side, and then the room will open up, and there will be a television on this side. There will be a table with a very heavy armchair there, and then on this other side of the room there were two single beds. So I took off my jacket, and I put my luggage down, and I proceeded to the bathroom because the first thing I wanted to do always after a flight was to take off my makeup, refresh myself to feel good after a long flight. And this is when it happens. So I was in the bathroom, and I was taking my makeup off, and suddenly I had furniture moving into the room, and I froze. I remember I was really scared, and actually the first things that came into my mind was, there is somebody in the room. Oh my God, who could it be, and what do they want? So I got really, really scared. So I didn't know what to do for a few seconds. I'm thinking, and I'm like, it's definitely somebody in the room. So I slowly moved closer to the door, and I thought, in the worst case scenario, I'm closer to the entrance of the room, and I can run away. So I moved slowly, closer to the door of the bathroom to look at what's happening in the room, who's there. And this is when it happened. I saw this big armchair, and it was quite a heavy armchair, moving towards me, as if entity, something that I couldn't physically see, was moving it towards me, and the chair just stopped literally very close to my knees. And that was one of the most scary moments of my life, and that is actually the moment when I realized, when people say that you are petrified by fear, that is the moment when I realized what it actually means to be scared and paralyzed by fear. I was literally frozen. I couldn't talk, I couldn't move. And in my brain I was thinking, if this entity is able to move so much, such a heavy armchair, which would have even been heavy for me to move, I said, what else can he do? And so I was there, unable to talk, unable to move, and I was standing in there looking at this armchair which is in front of me and waiting for something else to happen. And see what else would happen. Very scared. And I think a few minutes passed by, and my heart was racing, and I started to calm down, and nothing else was happening. And so I realized that nothing else was gonna happen, and I decided to do what I would normally do when paranormal experiences happen to me. And I decided to pretend that it wasn't happening. I have never make a contact or acknowledge a ghost or entity before or even after, and that was my way to cope with the situation. I thought, if I don't acknowledge, I can pretend this is not happening, and that was like my way to cope with those kind of experiences. And so when I realized that the entity was not gonna do anything else bad, I grabbed the armchair once I came down, and I went all the way across the room. I put the armchair under the big table, and then I went back to the bathroom to have my shower and pretend like nothing was happening. And of course I could sense, I could feel the entity watching me, because this is something that has happened before anyway. But this was quite of a strong encounter with this entity. And then nothing unusual happened after that, except for the usual. You will sometimes, as I said, you will hear footsteps while you were sleeping or things like that. But this, of course, I couldn't brush it off because it was quite obvious. And so after that stay, I start to think about what did actually happen, why the entity did that, and I also realized it didn't hurt me. And so I realized, thinking about what happened, I went to I elaborate my own explanation, and I realized that the entity was never malicious or anything like that, and the entity knew that I could feel their presence. And they didn't like it when I told the new crew, that there was nothing there, and it was just rumors, and it was nothing to worry about. the entity, the ghost, they didn't like it that I said that to the new crew. And so it was almost like a challenge. I'm gonna show you. I know you know me. I know you know that I'm here. I know that you can hear me and feel me. And now I'm gonna show you more tangibly that I am here. And I don't like you to go around and telling people that I don't exist. And I'm pretty sure that that was the kind of message that the ghost wanted to bring across. Basically, it was never his intention to hurt anybody or anything like that, but he didn't like it when I pretend telling the girl that he didn't exist. I'm like, I'm gonna show you, you know I exist, and I will show you more strongly today so that you don't do that ever again. And in fact, after that day, I have never ever tell any crew that the entity didn't exist, and that what was happening in there didn't exist. I didn't want to upset the ghost again. And so after that, it was very difficult for me. Of course, I have to go there many times after this encounter. And I remember shortly, about months after this happened, I had another trip scheduled to go there. And I remember the morning that I was going to report for my trip, I called my mom actually, and I felt physically sick. And I told my mom, I said, Mom, I'm not sure if I have the strength, emotional strength, to go back there after what happened last time. I don't know if I can deal with it. This was quite bad. I actually feel sick. And my mom, she gave me courage, and she said, don't worry, you are strong, nothing bad to you is gonna happen, and believe in yourself, you can do it, you are a strong girl. And so my mom, she gave me the encouragement and the courage to basically go back there and continue with many trips, because I couldn't possibly go to the management and say I don't want to be going there because of the ghost. Obviously it wasn't an option, and so it was very difficult to deal with it. And I want to explain this to people that you know, they don't understand the paranormal, they have not experienced always paranormal, or maybe never, is that you can go to a place which is haunted, and that doesn't mean that something always is gonna happen just because you are there. That doesn't mean just because a place or somewhere is haunted, it not automatically means that always something is gonna happen. I've been to that place in Tehran, like I said, many times during my work as crew, and I had just two major incidents there, and this was one of them. But any other time was more about feeling watched, or feeling footsteps, or maybe feeling a brush. So minor kind of feeling, or minor signs basically. And I think like you have to have a special sensitivity to be able to you know, feel those kind of things. And I think a lot of us are gifted with this, but I don't know how it happens. I don't know why some people have it more you know, enhanced than others, but it is what it is. That's how it works. So this is all, guys, for this story, the ghost of Tehran in Iran. And I hope you enjoyed my story. Thank you so much for watching. Please, if you can, like and subscribe to the channel, like the video, and you know, it's free content, but it makes such a huge difference for me, because it's easier for people to find my channel. And so if you could do that, I would really appreciate it. So this is all for the first episode of my ghost encounters or paranormal, and I will see you soon on my channel with another video. Bye bye.